What is up, everybody? Another episode of the Phaithful Phanatics podcast. As always, I'm one of your four hosts, Dylan Davis, joined by my guys, Matt McGinty, George Ryder, and Matt Snaps Szymanski. It's a Victory Thursday, fellas. Is that a thing? Or can we make that a thing?
Why not?
It's going to be a rare thing, but yeah.
I've only ever heard of Victory Mondays, but we're going to start Victory Thursdays over here on the Phaithful Fanatics show. Don't forget that the Phaithful Fanatics are powered by Manscaped, guys. Manscaped is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. It offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. For instance, their third-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents. Their waterproof technology allows use in the shower along with a new LED light, which illuminates grooming areas for a closer and more precise trimming. Get 20% off and free shipping with our promo code Phaithful at manscaped.com. Again, that's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com with our promo code Phaithful that you can get from the bottom of our screen here on the ticker. Guys, the Birds somehow, some way, travel across the country and come back to Philadelphia with a win and sole possession of first place in the NFC. What that means, I have absolutely no idea as far as the rest of the season goes. But we're a quarter of the way through now, and if you would have told me that the Eagles could be in first place at 1-2-1 before the season started, I would have laughed right in all three of your faces. So before we dive into the game, what went right, what didn't, what they need to work on, and so on and so forth. Just how are you guys feeling after a huge upset? Because the Eagles went into week 4 as the biggest underdogs at +8 or +8.5 on some sites. So again, we'll start with you because you are the only one on the crew to have picked the Eagles in your game predictions when you threw your clown mask back on, as you do quite frequently here on the Phaithful Fanatics show. No, I'm just messing with you, but how are you feeling on this Victory Thursday?
Good. This is the first time in how long where we've been on here where good things happened. We won a game. We hired Doc Rivers in the same week. I don't remember the last time we got on here with a little bit of optimism, at least. But I shouldn't say optimism for the Eagles, but some others.
Matt Klentak is no longer the general manager.
Not the GM, yeah. So
that might be the best news.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a great feeling to not just be pushed down by bad news in Philadelphia for once.
Yeah. I mean, for the Eagles, it's a step in the right direction. I mean, I don't think they outplayed the 49ers, but I think it was good to get a win. It was good to go in there as 9-point underdogs, get a win. It's what we needed. So, I mean, yeah, step in the right direction. It's a good win to improve on, pretty much. That's pretty much all I can say about that one. Doc Rivers, I mean, Matt Klentak's gone. Everything's looking pretty good right now, I'd say.
And my guy Snap, how are we feeling?
Good. Kind of good. I mean, it's nice to get a win, but after watching the 49ers, they're really no better than us. I think I overestimated them. They're really not that good of a team, just like us, whether that's because of injuries or whatnot. But one good thing is we're starting to realize this D-line serious, which is the biggest takeaway I took from the game. The D-line is a very serious part of this team, and it's something to look forward to.
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you brought that. We'll start there. We'll start on the defensive side. I was going to start with another person on the opposite side of the ball, but we'll have plenty of time to talk about him on this week's show. But let's start with the line, because for the first 3 weeks, we kept talking and kept asking, what is this team? We know they're 0-2-1, or we know they were 0-2 at the time. What is this team? Do they they don't have an identity right now? And I think the Cincinnati game showed it a little bit. But again, you didn't come out with a win, and it was against a really bad Cincinnati Bengals team. But the 49ers game kind of solidified it for me. The identity of this Eagles team, like Snap brought up, is their defensive line. It is the deepest area on their team. It is the most talented. It has the most playmakers. Like they are so deep. Whether it's outside with Derek Barnett has looked great the last 2 weeks, which I think we were writing him off in the beginning of the season. Josh Sweat continues to impress and improve. Brandon Graham is just the veteran that he is. Javon Hargrave, Malik Jackson, Fletcher Cox, and then Ridgeway got a sack the other night too. So, guys, is that the identity of this team? Is it the defensive line?
Yeah, I mean, I would say yes. I mean, I think coming into the season, that's what we thought would happen. In the first couple of weeks, we were a little surprised that it wasn't what we thought it was going to be. But now they're first in sacks in the NFL, aren't they?
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think finally we're starting to see what we were hoping to see. And, I mean, obviously there's still some weaknesses on that side of the ball, but the defensive line obviously isn't that.
Yeah, I mean, beginning of the season, that's what we talked about. We were saying we spent all this money on the D-line with their studs, and they should be playing better, and they've been showing it. I mean, like you said, they're first in sacks. They're ninth in yards allowed. They're fifth in yards per play allowed. They're fifth on third down. The clear identity of this team is our defensive line. It's not even arguable right now.
The defensive line's kind of always been the identity of this team. We've always invested so much in this team on the defensive line, and it really shows. Even in the down year, I'm just assuming that because of COVID, no preseason, none of that, no training camp. That's the main reason this line didn't start off to a good start. I feel like if you gave this line time in a preseason, this line would have been a lot better earlier. But they're still figuring things out, and they still look really, really good. Like you guys said, they're the deepest team. They're first in sacks. There is a lot to look up to this team. As long as the cornerbacks and the secondary stay healthy, and we can actually maybe get some good linebacker play, this defense will be a very, very good defense. But D-line's definitely the identity of this defense and this team as right now.
Yeah, so the defensive line got after Nick Mullins and C.J. Beathard a little bit when he came in the game.
Great.
Yeah. Tallying another 5 sacks. Like George said, they lead the league now. Pittsburgh, who we play this week, are number 2 in sacks. We know all about their defensive line. But they also did another key thing on defense, guys, that we talked about that would have to happen for them to beat San Fran. So one of our keys to the game was defensive line and getting pressure. Success. The other key to the game on defense was turning over the San Francisco 49ers and kind of reversing that league worse turnover differential that this defense and Carson Wentz had created the first 3 weeks. And that's exactly what happened. The Eagles defense came away with 3 turnovers against the San Francisco 49ers. Alex Singleton returned 1 for a touchdown. Again, that's your boy, dude.
That hit him literally in the chest, in stride.
That is your boy. And I don't think, look, the Crayvon LeBlanc strip sack was huge. The Rodney McLeod interception is huge simply because they're getting points going into halftime and then getting the ball to start the second half if that interception does not occur. But the timing of pick 6 is what was so key to me because it's right. It was literally the first play on offense for San Fran after the Carson Wentz to Travis Fulgham touchdown, which we will get into. And then you watch them drive right back down the field. The next 2 possessions basically with C.J. Beathard. So if that doesn't happen, I'm not sold that the Eagles come away with a win if Alex Singleton doesn't return that for 6.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I just can't believe that hit him literally in the hands. I was amazed.
Yeah, dude, I don't know what Nick Mullins was like. Looked like. You have to assume he didn't see him, but how the hell did you not see him? And if you were targeting whoever was, if it was Deebo Samuel or Ayuk behind him a little bit, I mean, the ball wasn't even going to come close at the angle you threw it to Singleton. It would have been 5 yards in front of him at his feet. So I don't know really what Nick Mullins was doing. I think, look, we talked a lot about that. Even with all their injuries, that the San Fran team is still a good team because we saw what they did to the New York Giants. And yet, yes, we are not as bad as the New York Giants, but we were not a good football team going into week 4 either. So I think the Eagles defense, Jim Schwartz wasn't playing the defensive line. I think they did a great job at, I guess you could say, exposing Nick Mullins for what he is. He's a below average quarterback, a backup quarterback in this league. He went out, he got a win as a starter in week 3. They weren't going to let that be the case in week 4. With that being said, there's a couple more things on defense that I want to get your guys' opinions on. One is that George Kittle had, I believe, 15 receptions for 183 yards and a touchdown. And
don't forget, he had 15 targets.
Right.
15 targets, 15 catches.
But with that being said, tell me if I'm wrong, because it almost seems like, no, we do not have the manpower to stick with George Kittle. Okay, I'm not saying that. But was that almost the game plan in that let Kittle get his? He's not going to be able to, like, the tight end's not going to be able to beat us. Like, dude, 183 yards and a touchdown from your tight end should be a W.
No, if it was, I completely disagree. If it wasn't for the turnovers, I don't think that was the game plan at all. I think the middle of the field is just that wide open because we've seen it the last couple of weeks with slot receivers and other tight ends like Higbee. We've seen it with Boyd. We've seen it with the white guy from the Rams. I literally have him on my fantasy team. I can't remember his name. Cooper Kupp.
Oh, Cooper Kupp.
Literally, the middle of the field's wide open. I don't think the game plan at all was like let him get his because it literally almost led to a loss. If it wasn't for Darius Slay in the end zone on that last play of the game, he probably would have caught that ball one-handed in the end zone. But that being said, I just think it's because of the turnovers that we were talking about. If we don't make those 3 turnovers happen, then we lose this game. I'm completely confident. If that pick 6 doesn't happen, I'm completely confident we lose this game.
Oh, yeah.
Completely confident. So, no, I don't think the game plan was let Kittle do what he does. I think we got good turnovers. We got lucky with some turnovers, and that's what led to this game. That's why I'm still not feeling confident about this win. It's cool. We got a win. But really, it was that close to not being a win. Like that pick 6 really saved us. The McLeod interception saved us. Carson saved us with that first TD. If he didn't create something there and get that touchdown, we're behind 7 points. We're behind 8 points from the jump because they went for 2 right away, which I respect Doug for doing, kind of getting back to his old ways. But no, I don't think the game plan at all was let Kittle get his. I think Kittle took it from us.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Without that pick 6, like, I don't know if we win that game at all. It's like, thank God Nick Mullins is so bad because he missed so many wide open opportunities. I forget what running back was going wide open down the sideline. Nobody around him, and he just overthrows them. Like, if Nick Mullins didn't play like that, who knows what happens? And the turnovers really did it for us. I mean, without the turnovers, when we were kind of due, I mean, I feel like we really were. The turnover differential is absolutely terrible. I don't think we had a pick since like week 17 last year. So it's like, what are you gonna do? I mean, the turnovers did it for us. I don't even know how confident I am going into Steelers because it was still not a great game. And like Carson looked better. I mean, that's good, but he still didn't look great at all. His legs, I love his legs, but everything else is like you saw flashes. Like that Fulgham pass was beautiful, but we'll see what happens. He still needs to be better.
We're still a bad team. Like, don't get it messed up. We're a very bad team. I still think we're a very bad team. Like, we have a good D-line, but we're still a bad team. Like, if that's a good quarterback for San Francisco, if that was a good quarterback playing like we're going to face the next couple weeks, we lose. We just lose. Like, there's no way around that. Fuck, George Kittle might have fucking had more receptions, more yards. He might have cracked 200 in that game if he had a good quarterback throwing to him. Like, there's just no confidence. I don't think the defense dude, we're a bad team until they prove otherwise.
That's fine. And I'm with you. I'm not saying I have confidence in the team going forward. We'll get into our game predictions later versus Steelers and break that game down. I'm not confident going into it. How can you be? They're 1-2-1. It's just how this division and the Cowboys have played out so far. But, and I'm not saying you guys did it or have said it, But for anyone that's watching this or going to watch this, I don't want to hear about the San Francisco 49ers injuries and blah, blah, blah. Okay? Because the Eagles are 1,000 times worse with their injuries. They continued to get beat up. San Fran got George Kittle and Deebo Samuel back. And besides, take that side away. All I heard last week, myself included, no one gave this team a chance to win. It doesn't matter that San Fran was beat up because it was still said that they were going to run the Eagles off the football field. We all saw the NBC pregame. Every single analyst picked the San Francisco 49ers. Most of us, except Gint with his clown mask, picked the Eagles. I would say probably 75%, if not more, of the city of Philadelphia picked the San Francisco 49ers. So while, yes, Nick Mullins, we came back down to earth and they were beat up, but I don't want – and I'm not saying you guys are saying that, but I don't want to hear that come out of anyone's mouth because it did. That wasn't an excuse coming into last week.
But I don't think a lot of people are even giving them that excuse. Like I haven't really heard that narrative going around.
I've only heard it once or twice. I forget. I think it was on Twitter.
Yeah, dude. I don't really think people are like giving them that. Like everyone knew these teams were hurt. They're missing half their best. They're missing some crucial players. We're missing some crucial players. This was just like two injury plagued teams going at it that both suck. Like that's what this game was. Like I get it. Gint put the clown mask on and he got it right. But at the end of the day, you were throwing a dart blindfolded and you just hit a bullseye. Like that's really what happened. Like there was no facts behind that. Like it was kind of like just faith in the team. It was just faith in the team for 1 week. In my opinion, anyone in the world could have guessed that was not going to happen. Oh, shit. Are those like comments?
Yeah, we switched it up.
Oh, okay. I was like, did we just get an ad on the screen? I was like confused.
It is because of the injuries. He said JK now. Yeah. So there's one more person that I want to give a little bit of credit to on the defensive side of the ball. And it's Nate Gehry. No, I'm kidding.
I knew. I didn't know where you were going with that. Jeez.
No. In all seriousness, Jalen Mills. I know we love to rip him. I know he gets beat on a double move just about once a game. But he made a last-second switch back to corner across from Darius Slay from safety where he lined up for the first 3 weeks. And he played really, really well. There was a stat hit. I forget what his stat line was, but I think he only gave up like 2 catches when he was the closest man in coverage on Sunday for limited yardage. So he played really well. He tackled in open space, which it was kind of impressive to me. I forget if it was him or someone took down Kittle one-on-one in open space, and it was really impressive. I forget if it was Jalen Mills or not, but
I remember that play. I don't think it was him, but I remember the play you're talking about.
So
I think it was Slay.
It might have been. So my question to you guys is that the route you want Jim Schwartz to go moving forward? Because obviously Avonte Maddox and Nikel Roby-Coleman have greatly underachieved and not been good throughout the first 3 weeks of the season. We know that Avonte Maddox is hurt. If he's going to be back, I have no idea. But is that where do you guys want Jalen Mills back at the other
corner?
Yeah.
No.
I don't think you really have an option.
I mean, yeah, if you don't have an option, plug him in there. But like, I guess, yeah, you know what? Let me change that. Yeah. If that's the only option, yeah, because I'm not a fan of Maddox at all.
Because then your boy gets more safety reps, being Kayvon Wallace.
Yeah,
dude, Marcus Epps. That was embarrassing. As like a football fan and just watching that was just like, I just don't get hurdle. Like, and I'm not, again, I never played football in my life. I played soccer, but I just don't get how football players get hurdled.
Painted lines is right.
Agreed.
I actually agree with you now, Dylan. I forgot about him, honestly, and I love him.
Who you honestly would have like as Marcus Epps sucks.
Acuna jumped like 15 fucking feet across the field and like 7 feet high. I couldn't believe how high he got. That was incredible.
I love Kayvon Wallace there too, but you also have to remember Will Parks is slowly making his way back, who we haven't seen in the Eagles uniform. And going into this year, I don't know how it's going to turn out, but going into this year, he was going to be not a big piece, but he was going to play a role in this secondary for the Eagles. And so now if you kept Mills at safety, you had kind of a crowded room where then maybe the rookie who played pretty well the first in his first start gets pushed down the pecking order. So I'm all for Jalen Mills going back to corner over there. Now I know we're going to all be freaking out when he gets beat on a double move against Deontay Johnson or Juju, whoever he ends up lined up against.
Oh, if they put him on Juju, I'll cry. Please don't.
I assume they won't.
I was thinking the same thing about like Will Parks will be back pretty soon, and I don't think it hurts to put Kayvon in some reps and get reps at safety. I mean, you want to play, and like we all bitch about Jalen Mills at corner, and we're gonna bitch more, but at this point, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah. I feel like letting Kayvon grow into that position more and more is smart. I feel like they're not giving him enough reps almost. I'd like to see more and more from him as the season goes on. But with Will Parks coming back, let him get reps in there. Let him get a majority of the reps over Kayvon. But, like, you got to eventually start letting Kayvon get getting some NFL experience or NFL's experience. He's a good player. He's a great tackler. He's exactly what you want at the safety spot. You drafted him to clearly be a future safety on your team.
Yeah.
But I get the reason why you don't want the rookie safety getting a lot of snaps right now, and I that's understandable. So Will Parks coming back smart.
Kayvon, because like even in college, like Kayvon, I'm pretty sure he led college football in tackling percentage.
Yeah, he did his senior year when he got drafted. He was the leader year.
Okay, Gint, let's have some fun. Let's switch to the other side. So we know defensively that the defensive line is one of the key, maybe the key to them beating the San Francisco 49ers and the defense creating turnovers. The defense played really well. I hope that continues going into next week because it's going to have to, which we'll get into. But on the offensive side of the ball, with injuries galore as they just kept piling up, the injury report is actually shrinking right now for the Eagles, so that's a good sign. But number 11, Gint, you said he was going to have to win us a game or steal us a game this year for kind of things to turn around after dropping the Washington game. And that is exactly what happened. Look, the numbers aren't flashy, okay? He was 18 of 28. He threw for under 200 yards. He threw for 193, threw one touchdown. But the bottom line, guys, is he went on the road against a good team. I know they're banged up, and we started saying they're shitty, but going into it, they were a good team with a good head coach and a good defense. And a game that he quite frankly had no business coming out of with a win. He was a leader, and he was a gamer. And yes, the numbers weren't flashy, but he made plays, guys. And at the end of the day, that is why the Eagles came out with a win, because he missed the Miles Sanders throw down the sideline in week 3. Yes, he did. Did he miss the Travis Fulgham throw down the sideline with the game on the line with under 6 minutes to go? After the Eagles continued to shoot themselves in the foot, Jason Kelce sails the snap over his head. Doug throws Jalen Hurts in like a moron in a critical moment. He fumbles trying to get out of the pocket too quickly. Just over and over again, and he just drops it in the bucket for a touchdown. He trusted his supporting cast. He trusted the guys around him. He made enough plays. The John Hightower 4th down throw, that doesn't get talked about enough this week. That is a huge play in this game. He put it right on a rope, right in his chest for a first down. He trusted John Hightower. He turns around and trusts Travis Fulgham, who now has more touchdowns or more catches than J.J. Arcega-Whiteside and touchdowns than J.J. Arcega-Whiteside does this season, and going back to last season. And he was just I just don't want to hear anything bad come out. I don't want to hear any bad words out of anyone's mouth this week. Was he spectacular and lights out? Not by any means. But he made the plays that needed to be made. And I'm going to throw it to you guys by saying this. We keep questioning where that Carson Wentz of 2017 was, right? And we keep questioning, is he elite? Has he been? Hell no. But very few quarterbacks, maybe two, I'll say three, and we all know who they are, Rodgers, Wilson, and Mahomes. Three guys can make that play that he made on Sunday night. And you know what I'm talking about. Maybe Deshaun Watson can make it too. When he extended the play with his legs, he got out of the pocket, makes the throw to Boston Scott. Very few quarterbacks can do that.
Not Lamar.
It gave you.
I don't trust Lamar at all as a passer.
It gave you 2017 vibes. It really did. Like it looked like 2017 went on that play.
And he didn't have the numbers that Dak has been putting up with 450, 500 yards. Well, guess what, people?
Same position.
Guess what, people? Dak's been down by an average of, I believe, 11 or 13 points at halftime every single week. They're down by 20-plus points in every single game. So, yes, they abandon the run and they just air the ball out over and over and over again. So it's no question why Dak Prescott has 400 to 500 passing yards every week and his stats look that good. Okay? So, guys, Gint, we'll start with you because you said he needed to steal a game to turn the season around. Is the season turned around? Who knows? Probably not, especially with the schedule coming up. But it's a step in the right direction. What did you see from number 11 on Sunday night?
When I mentioned like stealing a game, it was after the Washington game, and I was talking about almost likely week 2. We kind of needed to steal that game. We didn't. I don't think the season's turned around. But what happened Sunday, and I texted you guys it right away. When Lane Johnson got hurt, I was like, if he wins this game, this is probably one of his more impressive wins he'll ever have. And then you saw Jason Kelce on the table at one point too. I was like, this dude's going to die out there tonight. He, like you said, was the definition of a gamer on Sunday. He's blocking people 34 yards down the field. You saw the clip where he's getting into it with a cornerback. He just did, I think we said 2017 wins. That was more like 2019 wins where winning had to happen, and he made it happen. Again, numbers weren't flashing anyway. 194 and only one touchdown. You're not looking at that and saying, wow, your quarterback definitely won you that game. But like you said, I don't know many quarterbacks in the NFL that win that game on Sunday. Throw Nick Mullins out the door that they had a backup quarterback, whatever you want. There were 7-point underdogs going in the game. There's zero reason we won that game, and number 11 made it happen. And again, the haters, 194 and a touchdown. Throw it out the door. That like reminded everyone that's a true Eagles fan, like, this is the guy. He didn't look that good, but this guy's going to be really good. He is really good, and he will continue to be really good for a little while.
Right. And real quick, another thing that he's doing in the past 2 weeks that I'm absolutely loving is Carson is using his legs again, like he did in that MVP year. Like after that ACL injury, I think you saw in the last 2 seasons, like he was very hesitant to do that. And obviously so, but he's a lot better and a lot more accurate with the football when he's using his legs and out of the pocket. He's ran for 10 first down conversions using his legs over the last 2 games. He has, 3 rushing touchdowns on the year. He had the one, I don't know if it was designed that way, if it was a design quarterback run for the first touchdown or whatever it was. That was a great play. So having Carson use his legs like the Carson of 2017 is a great sign for me going forward. Snap, what did you see from 11 on Sunday night?
I think it was his best game of the season, clearly. And yeah, I do like that Carson's running, but is Carson running because of confidence, or is Carson running because he can't get anyone open? That's like I'm not trying to be a pessimist right now, but
no, I agree.
Like he has 3 rushing TDs because he can't get it to anyone else. So he has to run the ball into the end zone. But I still like it. I'm glad he's not scared to do it. I love that he was blocking on the cornerback. I love that he was hitting him. I love he was getting in his face. Good. Like I love that winning mentality. But even though this was his best game of the year and there's no eye-opening stats, yes, he had a good game. But you're not going to hear people hyping him up yet because now it's 1 good game to 3 shit games. So really, like I need a bigger sample size. Once he has like 3 really good games like last week, or even better games than that, I'll start giving him praise. He played a team that was just as bad as the Eagles. So I just want to see more from him. I like where it's going. This was the best game. Like I said, I'll reiterate, it's the best game he's had all season. But I just want to see him improve on this moving forward. I want to see what he does against the Steelers, which will be a test. But if you can keep that game with the Steelers tight, I love it.
Yeah.
I had to put Nathan in timeout.
Yeah, he's blowing up the comments. I'm on YouTube right now too while we're doing it. And I'm like, holy shit, dude.
That was clearly the best game of the season by Wentz. We needed to win that game. We say it a lot about these games, but that felt like a must-win game, and Carson Wentz got it done. And it's like you guys said, the stats aren't amazing. You don't look at the stat sheet and you're like, Carson Wentz won them that game, but he did. Without Carson Wentz doing what he did, we lose. And that's just how it is. I mean, I like how he's using his legs. He's 111 rushing yards in the year, and he looks more confident when he's running. He looks more confident he's moving out of the pocket. I mean, yeah, it's a step in the right direction. It's going to be a huge test next week because, Steelers, that line is absolutely ridiculous. They have the highest blitz percentage in the NFL, so he's going to have to get the ball out fast. But yeah, overall, good win. Shout out Carson Wentz. Thank you so much for doing you. And hopefully we just progress from this and we move on and we keep the momentum riding.
Shout out Travis Fulgham.
Yeah.
That throw was beautiful.
Should be on the active roster, and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside would be on the squad right now.
If he played,
he lost the ball. He lost the ball when it was coming, but it was just a perfect throw that he found.
Dude, that's why Carson, if he learns to trust who's around him, and I'm not saying that's easy because we all know what his supporting cast is, and how could you trust that supporting cast to make a play for you? But he's got to, if this team wants to find any bit of success this season. And that was a step in the right direction. I forget, someone took a snapshot of where Travis Fulgham was looking when the ball was released. And he was still running his route when the ball was released. He makes a great play on the ball, which an Eagles wide receiver has refused to do for God knows how long now. And like you said, he regains possession. He has great footwork on the out-of-bounds line and gets in the end zone. And it was just huge for me. Another thing that Carson did, showing that he was the leader, in my opinion. Do you guys remember the Jordan Mailata false start on the QB sneak early in the game?
Yeah, he hit him right on the head, right?
Yeah, that bothered him for a second. Carson went over to him, tapped him on the head, talked to him for a second. He's like, dude, I need you. I literally need you in this game. Your head in this game in the right place. And I guess that's where I'll take it to now is the offensive line. Jordan Mailata played well.
Yeah. And for a first ever career football start, not an NFL start, first ever career start in a football game, and he looked good. He looked good. It was awesome to see.
They've been saying for a while, as long as he learns his fundamentals, he's gonna be a very good player in this league. They were saying that last year. They were saying that last year that he could be a very good player and that he was dominating the practice squad on occasion. So this is just great to see because I'm tired of Jason Peters' ass, and I just want him on that damn line.
He looks better than Jason Peters, no doubt.
Aren't we so glad that Jason Peters held the Eagles hostage for a couple more million, and now he's on the IR with a toe injury?
Yeah, but no, we all knew he was going to get hurt. We didn't know Jordan Mailata was actually going to turn into a decent football player. Even though we've heard rumors that he could possibly be a good player in this league, there was also a part of us that was like, fuck, we really drafted someone that's never going to play in this league.
The Jason Peters is amazing. It started out as an illness, then it was a neck injury, then it was, and somehow it ended up being his toe. It's almost like he saw the way the season was going. It was like, say whatever you can, I'm done.
Yeah. So there's a few more things before we move on to the Steelers game. One, I want to talk about Doug Peterson for a second, his game plan, and things that were said after the win against San Fran. And the other is the running game. So, the other is Zach Ertz, excuse me. So let's start there, right? Zach Ertz, my guy. I love you. You played a huge role in the Eagles bringing their first Lombardi trophy to the city. Okay?
Get them out of here.
But your asking price, bro, is going to need to come way down. I said this the other night, and I will continue to say it. Do I think he is the third best tight end in football? I really do believe that. But but there's a tier, and there's only two on that top tier that get the money that they're getting in George Kittle and Travis Kelce. Now I know that San Fran took him away from Carson. They're like John Hightower, Travis Fulgham, they'll have to beat us like Zach. But dude, 9 yards in a game with the season on the line. You don't think that the Eagles were trying to do everything they could against George Kittle? You don't think that the New England Patriots on Sunday or any team out there does whatever they can against Travis Kelce? Now, I know the Eagles supporting cast around Ertz isn't what the 49ers have, isn't Sammy Watkins or Tyreek Hill that the Chiefs have, okay, or Kyle Shanahan or Andy Reid as their play callers. But, dude, 9 yards? I'm sorry. You're not getting top 3 tight end money when you put up 9 yards in a primetime game with the season on the line. And you haven't produced the first 3 weeks either.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was on your side when we were talking when this started that I wanted to pay Ertz and I wanted to extend him. But just like you said, and obviously they'll run the excuse of what's around him. But if you want to be, like you said, a Kittle or a Kelce in that same realm, this just is not it. You took he didn't really take a bank on himself because he wanted to get extended, and I see why now because there might have been a chance he was stealing some money.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I don't know, it's just like shocking to see him have 4 receptions for 9 yards in a big game like that, and it also is kind of eye-opening that maybe letting him walk isn't a huge deal after all with Dallas Goedert. I mean, we're not going to pay him. It's not going to happen. If his asking price comes down, we'll see. But God, that sucked. That wasn't good to watch.
Not only could he create separation, and now obviously we're only seeing what TV shows us. We don't know what the coverage was like for him. But at the same time, dude, even when he gets the ball in his hands, it's always been an issue in his career breaking tackles, but even more so now, it feels like he can't break a single tackle. His first step when the ball gets in his hand is always like too slow. He hesitates. He's never quick with the ball and getting yards after the catch. Like, it's too slow, dude. Like, I'm sorry. Snap.
What did I tell y'all?
I'm still not saying to get rid of him.
I think it's absolutely. Yeah. Now you can't. He's looked awful the last 4 games.
We would still get anything that we could have got before the season for Zach Ertz. We could still get this second, 1,000,000%.
I don't know, man. You just went on national television versus a guy you want to get paid like, a guy that you think you're in the same league as. You gave 9 yards. This man gave 180. And you like that?
I would love this.
It's like a slap in the face at this point. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? It's like, no. Like, thank you. You got the Super Bowl. But, like, we already have seen what we've done before. We've paid guys. They've gotten hurt from the Super Bowl team. I'm not doing it again. Fuck the sentimental value. Fuck it. It's gone. I'm done with it. Get him out of here. I'm tired of it. Like, he's like, I don't care if Dallas Goedert's hurt at this point. You have arguably a guy that can jump right into his spot and probably become better than Ertz, minus the reception yards. Just minus that. Dude gets better yak. He breaks tackles. He blocks, and he can catch the ball. I just don't see, like, I look at Ertz as a trading piece at this point, especially after this week. Like, where were you, dude? You're supposed to be the best receiver on the team as the tight end, and you did absolute dog shit.
Yeah, and
the practice squad guy got more yards than you.
And the issue right now,
that wants top 3 tight end money.
The issue right now with the 12 personnel set with 2 tight ends is it's not working for the Eagles this year at all.
Everyone knows about it.
Yeah. So here, the last thing, because we're almost 40 minutes in, the last thing about this game we have to give a little bit of credit to, but at the same time, I have some things I got to get off my chest about the Eagles head coach and Doug Peterson. Because, I'm going to do what Carson Wentz haters like to do. So even when he plays well like he did, there'll still be a but to Carson Wentz's play, right? So I'm going to give a but to Doug Peterson's play, okay? So was he better? Yes. Did he use more misdirection and motion pre-snap? Yes. Did he try to throw some things in, getting the ball in the speed guy's hands, reverses, screen game, stuff like that? Yes, he did. But he also was a bonehead for half the game. So let me get this straight, right? Your bell cow running back has 13 carries, once again, in a game that you either led in or you were trailing by one possession. It was never out of reach. He had 13 carries. Your bell cow running back is not in the game in the final 2 possessions of the game. Boston Scott and Corey Clement are. Your bell cow running back, or the running game in general, to start the second half when you get the ball, Doug comes out and throws the ball 7 or 8 times in a row. I literally text you guys. I'm like, guys, how many passes is that in a row? It was like 8 or 9 passes in a row to start the second half. Okay? And then what else does he do? He brings in Jalen Hurts for a gadget play with 5.5 or so minutes left. For all you people calling for Jalen Hurts, and I'm not trying to wreck the kid, but he's clearly not ready. He was trying to leave the pocket before the ball even reached his hands. That's why the fumble happened. He's now fumbled 2 out of 3 times he did that. Yes, he did. He was already going left.
Am I mixing that up with the bad snap from last week?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the bad snap went over Carson's head. The high one?
No, the snap that Jalen took. The one he took went wide right, and he never got a hand on it.
No.
That's why they fumbled it.
That's because his first step, he went left. He was already moving before the ball got to him. That's why. So he's scared to get it. You cannot put Jalen Hurts in the game with the game on the line. He gives what's his name, Adrian or AJ Killens, whatever, who they ended up releasing the next day anyway. He gives him a reversal, his only touch of the game on the touchdown possession before the Fulgham play that goes for a negative 4 or 5 yards. Like Doug's timing for these things is so asinine. You cannot put a rookie quarterback who is used to having the ball in his hands every single play his entire life and think that he's going to come in and handle the snap or whatever with only getting 2 or 3 snaps a game in a pressure moment. Okay, you cannot run a reversal to an undrafted free agent rookie who hasn't touched the ball for you all game in a critical moment. Like, be better. Like, he's going to have to be better. Did he have a better game plan coming in? Yes. Did they get a win? Yes. So he gets credit from me. But I'm going to do the same thing other people do for Carson Wentz. Yeah, but he needs to be better going forward.
Absolutely agree. I honestly think there should be a win marker on if this is Doug's last chance, because it really hasn't looked good. It looks worse and worse every game. You would think it's almost like he hasn't learned. You have a 3-down back. Why are you not treating him like a 3-down back? Like, to your point, you have a practice squad guy on there at the goal line, at the red zone. You have one of the best running backs in football on your team, and you can say that at this point. I can't remember the last time I said that since Shady was here.
He is.
Give him the ball.
Miles Sanders is the best skill position player the Eagles have, and that's what I forgot to mention it. The issue I'm having with Doug is if Miles Sanders' ass is still hurting because he has a glute injury, then say that. That is fine. Be honest. I understand why you're being cautious with him at the end of the game. But Doug comes out on Monday and gets the question that we're talking about right now. Why was Corey Clement and Boston Scott at the end of the game and not Miles Sanders? Well, that was the game plan. That was the game plan. For your bell cow running back, your best skill position player, to not be on the field in the final possession or two and not touch the ball one single time. And I'll tell you why. Because someone fears that he's going to put the ball on the turf. And that cannot be a fear if he's your true bell cow running back.
What did we say? Before the season, what did we say? Miles Sanders is going to be the workhorse. He's going to be a true number 1 running back this year for the Eagles. He's going to be a true 3-down back, and they're going to ride him. What is happening? Boston Scott and Corey Clement in the game? Like, what is happening? It makes zero sense.
Who aren't producing
at all, and even especially in the goal line, on the goal line, what? It makes no sense. And I don't know. Even Miles Sanders, like before the season, he was like MVP year. Here we go. And Doug's like, sorry, bud, sit the bench. I don't get it. I really don't understand at all.
He's lost in the past, it feels like, with a 2 tight end set, trying this fucking running back by committee bullshit again. Like, Doug, switch it the fuck up. This isn't 2017, bro. This is not the same team. Teams that want to keep success adapt and they change the game plan. Why is Boston Scott and Corey Clement trying in the red zone part of your game plan? It's It's stupid. Sorry.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But shout out Miles Sanders, though. There's a lot could go wrong with words in the press and stuff like that. He has kept a level head, hasn't said much, which makes me think there might be a caution because a young kid like that, you could see really probably lash out. But another thing about Doug is, and I know I'm the biggest advocate for it. I hate bringing up 2017 because at this point it's got to be thrown out. But everything he would do in 2017 seemed to just click at the right time. And this season, it has been the polar opposite. Like you said, he tries an end around on a guy that touches the ball once. It goes for -4 yards. He's trying Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts putting the ball on the turf every time he touches it, it seems. It's just he's trying to, like, outsmart people, and it's just not working.
No, right. And I think there's room to use it because of the limited skill position weapons you have at the moment. Now, in a second, when we get on to the Pittsburgh game, things could change health-wise. But, like, why not? Like, you know the play that they tossed it off, Wentz tossed it off to Hurts. He ran around, and then they tried throwing it back to Wentz. Mm-hmm. Well, like, why not use some sort of other misdirection pre-snap, get the ball and Hurts to roll out, and then instead of trying to make another pass back to the quarterback, why not try to get the ball, like, have Hurts throw a pass downfield? Like, I don't know. There's just so many things I feel like he could do differently for this offense to click. But do you guys remember the 2018 the season opener against the Falcons after we won the Super Bowl, and the offense was stagnant in the first half, and they come out in the second half, and he runs Philly again, and it breaks off, and then the offense picked up? Like, he has none of that.
There's nothing. There's no creativity, and he's trying to force creativity.
And he tried, and like I said, I give him a little bit of credit. He tried different things this game. He used a lot of motion. He used, like, you saw Killins and John Hightower running how many times behind the line of scrimmage pre-snap to move the eyes of the linebackers and safeties and all. But, like, it still didn't work well. Like, now you have to take that wrinkle and adjust to that and improve it. With that being said, 47 minutes in, let's move on to the Pittsburgh Steelers Philadelphia Eagles game this Sunday, which is absolutely huge. You know, maybe I'll take that back a step because the NFC least is just awful.
No.
So we keep saying must win, but at the end of the day, we could win this division at 6-8-1 or whatever, or 6-9-1 or whatever. So guys, I feel like there's a lot to talk about, but it's going to be pretty simple. Are the Eagles getting healthy this week? There's rumors that Deshaun Jackson is going to be playing this week. There's rumors, obviously, of Alshon Jeffrey, but now he didn't practice today with an illness on top of everything else he's been dealing with. But he was on track to get back. So I'm going to need those guys back this week, to be honest with you. Quez Watkins, I can't believe I'm, like, excited that Quez Watkins is an option. So seriously. And then I'm going to need Layden Johnson to be healthy.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, to have any chance, Layden Johnson needs to play a full game, a healthy game. So let's start on the offense because that's what we were last talking about. What are the keys to the game offensively, or who's going to need to step up offensively for the Eagles to have success? Look, regardless whether or not you think they're going to have success, we'll save that for our predictions. But for them to have success, what needs to happen? George, we'll start with you.
Definitely the biggest part of this game is the offensive line. And I feel like we say that a lot, but it's just so true. I mean, the Steelers' D-line is they're monsters. They're so good. I mean, they have the highest blitz percentage in the league too. And our O-line, them being beat up, it's like Carson's going to have to get the ball off quick if he's under pressure most of the game. So it's the O-line. And, like, Mailata looked really good last week, but he's going up against Bud Dupree this week. So, like, there's matchup problems. And if the O-line can keep Carson, like, relaxed and not give up too many pressure situations, we have a chance to win this game. So yeah, I think it's like clearly the offensive line.
Again,
Yeah, I was going to go with the offensive line, but I'll switch it up. I'm going to go with Zach Ertz. We can't have a ghost out there in this game, especially with this defense. Like you said, there's a huge task at hand. We need a reliable, all-pro tight end to be available and to just show out. I'm not saying a game.
10 catch.
Yeah, that's just a lot to ask. 10 catches, 180 yards. That's just too. I mean, to me, that's too much to ask for. Nate Gary's not a linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's so, but we need that ghost to come back and just have 6 receptions, 90 yards, and a touchdown. Give me a touchdown too.
Snap. Offensive.
I gotta agree with George. I think it comes down to the O-line. They need to stay tight and stay together, man. You got to give Carson some time in the pocket. If he doesn't have time in the pocket, he's screwed. And especially with the blitz percentage, especially with a guy like Mailata on that outside, such a young guy, like that blitz, I feel like is just going to kill him, man. Like, I just feel like he's not ready for this line. Because, like, look, like if Carson doesn't have enough time, you're making him run. And if you're making him run more than he has already, he's going to get hit. And that's just the last thing you need is him getting hit, especially against a team like this. Especially with a guy like Minka out there too, like forcing him to throw the ball, not thinking. Like, that's the last guy you want out there. This dude was Defensive Player of the Year. Was he? Did he win it last year? Or was he? He was close, right?
Gilmore.
I think.
Gilmore? Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah,
Oh,
Stephon
right.
Gilmore.
I'm sorry.
Minka,
But still, you got a guy like Minka out there in the secondary just ready to pick off a rushed Carson Wentz. Like, I don't like the matchup. I'll just be honest. But if I had to say one thing, it's the O-line needs to give Carson some time to get the ball off accurately.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely the offensive line is going to play a huge part against Cam Hayward, Tuitt, T.J. Watt. The thing with man, this is a tough matchup, and we're not even getting to the defense yet in Pittsburgh's offense. I'm just looking at it offensively. For the Eagles to have a shot this week, they need to have some health back. Like they need. I know Deshaun Jackson needs to play, or Alshon Jeffrey needs to play, or both of them. Like, we need veteran guys that know how to run a route and get open and make a play, and playmakers out there for Carson Wentz, or it's not going to happen. But the thing that I'm looking for is, look, tip balls at the offensive line, at the line of scrimmage, because he's trying to make a play, and diving catches for interceptions. Those things are going to happen, right? It's not necessarily his fault. But what did we hear last week? There's rumors floating around that Carson in year 5 is having difficulty reading defenses pre-snap and knowing where he's going with his first read, right? You didn't see that the other night. This Pittsburgh defense, Snap, you talked about Minka. They have Joe Hayden. I just mentioned 3 of their defensive linemen. They're Devin Bush in their linebacker group. They're second in sacks, so they get after the quarterback. George, what did you say their blitz percentage was?
They're the highest in the NFL.
Highest blitz percentage in the NFL. They disguise really well. They're going to throw different looks all game long, zone, man, whatever they want to at Carson. I'm going to need him to not shoot himself in the foot. Know where you want to go with the ball. Know what your reads are, and just call a smart game at the line of scrimmage if need be, and just not turn the ball over because of what this defense is throwing at you. If a tip ball happens, if he gets hit in 2 or 2.5 seconds and the ball comes out from behind, okay, I get it. But basically what I'm saying is, if Minka Fitzpatrick and Joe Hayden are on one side of the field and they throw a disguise at, I'm going to need Carson to know what's coming, basically, because especially with what he has supporting him. We know Doug's not going to give Miles Sanders the ball 23 times. So it once again, it's going to fall on number 11 shoulders to make something happen on Sunday.
Which is kind of scary because I felt like Carson had a rough time with the zone last week than when San Francisco was running it. Ward and those guys are just so good in that zone at picking up coverage and taking away space. If Pittsburgh runs any type of zone against Carson, I think Carson's really going to struggle.
The other issue with when these defenses are throwing zone is you have to, as a position player, as a wide receiver, that's where the youth and the inexperience comes in for the Eagles, because you have to know where to sit down in a zone. Like that's where Zach Ertz, get to your point. They throw a lot of different zone looks at Carson Wentz and the Eagles. Zach's going to know where to sit down in the zone, turn around, Carson can deliver the football. John Hightower doesn't really know that. Greg Ward doesn't really know that. If Quez Watkins is out there, he doesn't really know that. So that's where it comes in to play offensively. I just had to throw this comment up there. I'll get you pregnant and leave. Pregnant is spelled incorrectly. Game. Yeah.
Should be good. Yeah,
man. Wow. All right, let's move over to the defensive side of the ball because we could sit here and talk about Doug needs to run the ball. Doug needs to get Carson out of the pocket. We keep saying it over and over again, and so it doesn't need to be said anymore. The offensive line needs to step up and play out of their minds. Carson needs to not turn the football over and just make a couple plays. Defensively is another story, right? So we know that this defensive line is going to need to get after Ben Roethlisberger. We know that Ben Roethlisberger tends to turn the football over at times. We also know that the Steelers, while they're 3-0 coming off a bye week because of the whole Tennessee COVID situation, have also their opponents have combined for like 1 or 2 wins on the season. They played the Houston Texans, who are 0-4. They played the Denver Broncos with a backup quarterback and injuries all over the place. And they played the New York Giants on Monday Night Football in week 1. So they haven't been tested. Guys, where do the issues lie? Because I feel like there's mismatches all across the board. Darius Slay, yes, he can line up one-on-one with Juju Smith-Schuster on one side of the field. But who's going to step up and cover Chase Claypool? Who's going to step up and cover Deontay Johnson? They have James Conner. They have a good offense. They have a good run game. And we haven't even talked about it. They have not 1, but 2 good route running, big tight ends in Eric Ebron and Vance McDonald. Guys, how the hell? If I was the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin, I am running 12 personnel, 2 tight end sets all over this Eagles defense because they're not going to be able to stop it on Sunday.
I definitely agree. When you were mentioning names, 2 that stick out, Deontay Johnson, absolutely. He's special, and you don't even know who's going to play cornerback number 2 right now, I assume. And then Eric Ebron has been good for a little while in this league. And, I mean, you saw what Tyler Higbee did. You saw what George Kittle did. I see tight end continuing to be a problem for our defense. And Eric Ebron's been good for a while. So those are the 2 names that really stuck out to me. Obviously, Juju's awesome. James Conner's been pretty good for a little while. But you have Darius Slay, and hopefully the defensive line can contain a running back. But those 2 names are the 2 that I think cause the most issues.
Yeah, so I think, in my opinion, you have to make the Pittsburgh Steelers one-dimensional. And when I say that, this Eagles run defense has to continue to do what it's done in the past and be one of the best run defenses in football. Because if you can take that aspect away and make Big Ben drop back and drop back and drop back, then you have a chance. If James Conner is busting 4, 5, 6, 7 yards on first down over and over again, you are in for a long, long day, Jim Schwartz. So that getting pressure after Big Ben and making the Pittsburgh game plan one-dimensional. Snap, defensively, what are your worries? What do the Eagles need to do to be successful?
You're muted.
Muted.
You gotta kind of play like you did last week, where your D-line's so good at getting pressure on the quarterback that you just pray for turnovers. Honestly, turnovers that come into the secondary. Because listen, man, you listed off those type of offensive weapons they have. The middle of the field again is going to be a problem. But the difference between this team and the Niners is this team's a lot better than them, and they will capitalize on this. They have 2 really good tight ends that they will capitalize with. They have great wide receivers that are going to help open up the field, and especially the middle of the field. Honestly, like, the only chance they got is if you can force Big Ben into a situation where he makes mistakes and you can just capitalize on the mistakes. That's the only way I see it. And even then, man, he's a veteran quarterback that just knows to throw the ball away. So
But
Yeah.
sometimes, and we haven't seen it this year because of his competition, he gets happy feet, and that's what you're going to have to hope for.
He's
and
still
you're
a
going to have
veteran quarterback, and that's
you're gonna
hope.
have to
I don't want to root on hope.
well,
Yeah, I'm just so pessimistic at the season at this point. Like everything about this team just seems like they're gonna kick the shit out of us. We beat them like the last 3 times. We're just due for a loss to this team. I really don't have faith in the Eagles.
They get fans back in the stadium this year.
Yeah, I don't think the Eagles have a shot, to be honest. If they do, I hope they prove me wrong. I want to be wrong, but
so the thing is, before George, I want to throw this to you. Is it like you almost have to hope? Again, I keep saying hope, but you need. I'll say that you need the secondary. You need the defensive line to be so good where the secondary only has to be in coverage for 3 or 4 seconds, right? Like you don't want these wide receivers in big, because we know how Big Ben is outside the pocket extending plays, what he can do with the deep ball and making plays happen. And they have weapons all across the board. They have speed all across the board. So you have to contain Big Ben, keep him in the pocket, get pressure from your interior defensive line, and have Darius Slay and Jalen Mills and them just stay in coverage for a couple seconds. I mean, is that too hard to ask? A couple seconds in coverage? It might be. George?
Yeah, I'm going off the point you said. You got to make them one-dimensional. Like if this defensive line can contain James Conner and get pressure on Big Ben, we have a lot better chance of winning this game than if they can't, because like you said, Juju's a hell of a wide receiver, but I'm not too nervous about him when we have Darius Slay on him. The biggest worry is Eric Ebron. Like he's been good. He was good in Detroit, like Gint said. Like it's not like he's a new name. It's like this guy's good. And
I have another one.
Yeah, 2 tight ends.
Don't forget about that 75-yard Tampa Bay Monday night run by Vance.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, that's the thing. Like we know that we don't cover tight ends well. We don't cover big tight ends well. So if it's gonna be scary. And the biggest thing is our D line needs to hold up. And if you can contain Connor, get pressure on Big Ben, it's a whole different ball game than if they don't perform like they've been playing this season.
Bottom line, another key: Nate Gary shouldn't be dressed. And if he's going to dress, at least someone take his visor away, because I can't stand that. I really can't. So, guys, let's get into our game predictions, score predictions. Snap, we'll start with you, and we'll see if we can get a little bit more upbeat after your pick.
All right, I'm going second week in a row. Steelers 33-14. I'm sorry, guys. Why did you go like this?
Oh, Klinger, sorry.
All right. No, 33-14. I got the Steelers all the way. Everything just does not match up for us well. Again, like you guys are saying, they have only won against shitty competition, but mixing that with offensive weapons, their defensive line, everything about them just screams like it's going to be a rough day for us, especially after barely getting the win against the 49ers last week. I just think it's going to be it's just going to be a hard game to watch.
George, we'll go to you next.
You look at the matchup all around on paper, and the Steelers got it. The Steelers should win this game. They're 7-point favorites, but the Eagles win. But listen, the Eagles win 27-21. We have another victory Monday. We have another victory Thursday, and the season is fucking back. We're going to win. It's going to happen. I'm not as confident as I sound, but I'm going Birds 27-21.
Is the
Yeah. When I came on, I was like, I'm going to take the Steelers win 27-21.
That's what I said.
Right now, I'm going to take the Birds 24-21.
Can I say something, Snap? Hold on. You know what's awesome about this? He said coming in he was going to take the Steelers. We have said nothing.
Nothing to persuade you. Nothing to make you feel comfortable. Only more negative. It's just the fact that we're talking about the Eagles that you're like, I got to take the Eagles.
I'm taking the Eagles 24-21.
Let's get it.
All right. Like, obviously, I want to say the Eagles, but I'm going to stick with my, prove me wrong. I picked the Eagles the first 3 weeks. They proved me wrong. I picked the 49ers last week. They proved me wrong. So, Birds, prove me wrong again. I'm saying Steelers 31-17.
Okay.
Prove me wrong. And now, Snap.
Pigskin
Picks, baby.
I'm undefeated, dog. Undefeated. No one can touch me. I'm so hot. I will burn your skin.
All right, so we'll start with you.
All right. What do you want? You want my underdog first or my guarantee?
I want your lock first. I want to save the upset.
Okay. This week on Pigskin Picks, I'm going with my lock, and my lock is I kind of forget it. Let me log into DraftKings. There we go. Hold on. My lock is the Baltimore Ravens -12. I know it's not a great lock. It's not. If you're
gonna love my upset.
Go parlay it with something. They're playing Cincinnati Bengals. You know they're gonna handle them because if the Ravens do one thing well, it's handle bad teams. Go for it. Lock it in. Set it up. You got it.
Would you like to know that Lamar Jackson hasn't practiced for 2 days straight?
Nah, they said today. They just said like 10 minutes ago. Schefter, he said he's gonna be fine. He's gonna play. So there you go, Snap. There you go.
You're gonna love my upset. Yeah, George.
All right. Lock of the week. I'm gonna go Rams -7 against Washington. Dwayne Haskins benched. We'll see how they do. And he hasn't even taken a snap. Yeah. So
Riverboat Ron's offense.
Riverboat Ron. Yeah, I'm going Rams -7 against Washington.
All right. Again,
I'm gonna go with the Texans -5.5. Bill O'Brien out the door. I feel like it's kind of like a Chip Kelly vibe when they got rid of him.
Who do they have this week?
They're playing Jacksonville -5.5. I think Sean Watson goes bonkers. He's finally got the leash off. So I'm going to take the Texans -5.5.
I'm going with the Arizona Cardinals -7 against the New York
lock. That is a super lock
against the New York Jets. Dude, the Jets are awful. The Cardinals started out 2-0.
Joe Flacco is
the Cardinals had the Cardinals dropped 2 in a row, or
they dropped
Yeah.
So I think their offense turns it back up. I could see the Cardinals scoring in the high 30s, low 40s against this Jets team. Crazy Eyes Gase is on his way out the door. So
how does he have a job?
Dude, I don't know. How does Dan Quinn have a job?
Dude,
how does Matt Patricia have it? Dude, so many head coaches should be gone mid-season. It's unbelievable. We could make a whole nother segment about that if we wanted to. Snap, you're upset.
My upset of the week. I'm sorry, Gint. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars. I went against Houston last week with my underdog, and I was right. This team is freaking awful, Bill O'Brien or not. They just are not good. They have no chemistry. I don't care who's coaching them. I don't care if it's anyone on that coaching staff that is coaching them under Bill O'Brien is not going to do a good enough job to win them this game. I get the Chip Kelly vibe. I get it all. But Jacksonville versus them, I just don't see it. And I'm taking that with the spread, so it's +6. I'm not taking money line. So not a full win. I just want the points for that one. So +6, Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Houston Texans, locking it.
I can't believe you're taking the porn stash.
I love it.
I hate him.
Yeah, he sucks. He's not good. He's not a good
Well,
quarterback.
he's going to beat Houston because Houston's that bad.
All right,
George.
Carolina +2 at Atlanta.
I'm going to take them too.
The Falcons can't hold a fucking lead, and I don't know how you could bet on the Falcons. Teddy Two Gloves is not going to lose you games. It's going to be a close one. Taking the Panthers, taking points.
Teddy Two Gloves. All right. Again.
I'm going to take the Birds +7.
Yeah.
This dude is you're kidding me, right?
Clown mask.
Yo.
I don't like any underdog besides them. And maybe like Cleveland +1.5, but I'm going to take
that one too.
I'm going to take the Eagles.
So, my upset, Snap, you're going against George. I'm going against you. I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals +13 or whatever the line's at. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Take it to the bank.
All right,
No,
that's what you want to do. You're going against the boy right now. I'm undefeated in this stuff, man. I'm
Bet a
hot.
30 on
I'm a
that.
skillet on blast.
Bet a
I'm about
30
to-
on that one.
I'm gonna cool you off.
We'll see about that.
Yo, he took the Eagles.
Again,
Love it.
maybe if he just keeps picking them.
Ride the hot hand.
It'll
Ride the hot
It'll
hand.
work. All right, guys. So with that being said, let's just end on this note. If the Eagles do follow what Ginn is saying, Doug Peterson calls a hell of a game. Carson Wentz is a gamer. The defensive line absolutely gets after Ben Roethlisberger, and they force a couple turnovers. The Eagles will be 2-2-1. And if that is the case, on our next Victory Thursday show next week, you will have a lot more optimistic view coming from myself, probably the other three here with me. But until then, because all I'm going to say is 2-2-1 after 0-2-1, and the way the season started.
Yeah.
Playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Are you saying we're going on a run? We got to go on a run? Oh, okay.
No, I just took them to lose. All right. For myself, for Gint, for George, for Snap, go use our promo code Phaithful and get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. They got anything. They got all you need. Show them, Snap. See that light? You see that LED light?
Probably shouldn't have done that. I was supposed to get a shape up next week. All right, all right. Let's end this because now I got to go.